I'm late, sorry. Alright, we are online. We are online. Yes, we are. I am online. Alright. Alright. Sorry about the late start. Yeah. I would say it's my fault this time around. Went a bit, too late. But, I'm here. And yeah, decided to play, Ace Attorney. Because, as I usually do when I finish a game, I just return to the game of all games, Ace Attorney. It's a nice cooldown game. Of course, there's a lot of talking and reading, but I'm already doing it right by reading. Streaming. But yeah, first and foremost, everything gotta be turned down. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys having a fantastic day so far. I'm doing good if you're asking me. Hope you guys are also doing fantastic. Today, we're gonna be playing, as you can see, great Ace Attorney Chronicles. On our day 5 in, yeah. We are in court already, yes. Yes, we are in court the last time. If you haven't caught up, you can check out my YouTube channel. That's where I always upload all my gameplays, all my VODs. And Ace Attorney is also there. So if you haven't, tuned in last time, we are at the court in Britain, where it's gonna be our actual first trial to become a lawyer. Which is, it's good, our first trial. It's gonna be our first court trial, defending someone. Yeah. That is the best trial we can get, huh? Trial by fire. If it goes wrong, hey, it's our fault. If it goes good, hey, we good. I mean, what else is there to see, right? If something goes wrong, hey, something goes wrong. But yeah, we're in a court in Britain, and we have to prove that we are an actual lawyer. Good trial. Alright. Shall we start? Yeah, I say we start. Alright. Van Ziegs, or the group. I know what this was called again, some kind of Reaper, something that no one came through. Like every trial he was at, the person stood against him lost. So every single one of the, I guess, who was standing on the stand, lost and probably died or went to prison, one or the other. Yeah. It's gonna be something, huh? Okay, he's gonna probably tell us what happened. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as thrice fired mason. Okay. Okay, I see you. Something happened with this guy. Yes, he got murdered. Sorry, thrice? Yes, thrice, man. Leon Oscar, thrice, man. He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be the most indestructible. My guess would be... This might have been not really, something about, oh, I just murdered someone. No. I think it was mainly around business, probably. Business. Because this was, primarily as it says, he was a very accomplished craftsman. No one could ever come close to his indestructible bricks. Oh, stabbed into the gut. The victim's skull was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. The dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Are you sure about that? Even though, the amount of times I've seen, these type of, murders, I was never really sure, you know? If someone just got stabbed down there, they would die? Usually I say, okay, if you hit an artery, sure, you will bleed out and die. Same with heart and everywhere else, right? Early abdomen? I don't know. It's like, I was expecting more, you know, more dramatic course of action. Here's the autopsy report from the investigation medical officer at Scotland Yard. They're definitely probably better than the Japanese ones who literally missed the poison in the bottle. I should accept that the photograph as evidence. Okay. Photograph of the crime scene has been entered to record a record. Alright. And one further item of evidence. What is it? Okay, the prosecution wishes to submit these as well. Ooh, we got something. Oh, we got man. And these are, yes, tell me. Do tell me. Good lord! Is it blood? Counsel? Yes, what do you think this is, huh? Omelette? Yeah. Yes, my lord. Seized by the policeman who arrived at the scene. The gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. Huh? What? Mr. McGilda's gloves had blood on them? Wait a minute, what? Hey yo, man, what? You had gloves on while doing it, and you had them on too? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. The defendant's leather gloves have been entered into the court record. How did I get into this? Good question, how did you get into this? I backed into the corner before I even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of the passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. Mason? The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstance to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. King Mr. McGilded. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening, but whenever I'm in the carriage, taken with a fierce tiredness and always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? Oh, okay, no, it works. Okay. This is the motion of my carriage, my Lord Littleton. So it is. And when I opened my eyes again, there was the desk beside it before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. The blood got into the gloves, and after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, the statement of the driver is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? Quite easy, right? There were multiple witnesses. Okay, how can there be multiple witnesses when there are only 2 people around you? Precise moment at which the brickmaker was finally fatally stabbed. Okay. Okay. Hey, that woman's riding up a storm. Order. I'm sure there's order. Order. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not the case of compelling evidence. Are you sure about that? Even it's a nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from the witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Oh shit. Who is it? Yeah, what? Looking quite British, am I? Looking quite British, if you say so. Of course it's Britain, right? Oh, it's what are we looking like? Witnesses, your names and occupations? My name is... Well, everyone calls me Beppo. Wait, Beppo? I drive an omnibus in the East End. Fair play. Bruce, fair play. I'm a banker in the city. I think you're fair play, yeah? My name's First. Lady First, really? Lady First? God damn it. I make hats for gents. If you make hats for gents, why is it that your head is keep on drifting away from your head? Just sliding off? Let's begin confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at the short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus. Wait, what? And witnessed the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. I saw. That's right, sir. Very well then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Ah, shit. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers and I remember it well. The victim of the man accused of killing were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's why they stabbed him. I screamed. Okay, I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. Okay. An ambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this is testimony. Makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside the moving carriage, didn't it? Yes, it did. It has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Then how can Beppo, the guy who was, I guess, driving the carriage, would stop at the same time while driving the carriage? You see the discrepancy here? Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. Hey, yo, what? Pathetic. How quaint. I read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. Goddamn. But you're here in London, sir. Are you really so ignorant about omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend. Have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? The carriage is designed to be moved afterward. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Wait, what? How big is this area? Yeah, what? The entire carriage, yes. You're gonna, you know, ascend from the top to the floor. Bailiff, open them gates. Bring forth this stricken omnibus, the cursed one now. Okay, I don't know how that did get in here, but I guess it did ascend from the top. Huh, so that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. Indeed they are, apparently. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Interesting, interesting. Carry up to 8 passengers, right? Passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin and another 4 on top of the deck. Above. Every London knows. Okay. And the best views of the city and architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. See, it doesn't look really safe now, does it? I should point out to our foreign guards. Okay. It actually doesn't look that safe. I mean, what is this? I'm sure there are rails, but maybe the seats are where, you know, where you can actually see. Over here, and here? At the same time, I cannot tell anything else on this picture. I think it is here, right? As you see here, and here. Alright. Alright. Still though, there's not much holding, you know, the thing from falling over. Oh wait, they can look down. But there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from above. Why would that be there? Like, I mean, it's cool, but why would anyone ever do that? Like, oh yeah, let me look down on those peasants down there, see what they're up to. Ah, a skylight. Oh, the penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. No, that makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is the first. In all years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into courtroom. Well, that's also the first time I'm seeing it in any capacity. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. The omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Susato. Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving the omnibus a thorough examination, seeing it first. Let's continue proceeding then. The cross-examination counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of British courts. Cross-examination rights. Oh, that's different. Alright, my first cross-examination in the British court. Focus, Rionosuke. Focus. But before going to cross-examination, let's look over it one more time. Alright. Victim, name. Thrice fired, Mason, male, age 54. Occupier, brickmaker. Actually, not really brickmaking, no, he's dead making. Time and cause of death, okay. 15 February, 10 p.m. To 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife. While journeying in an omnibus, died due to internal hemorrhage resulting from the trauma. Interesting. Okay. So he got stabbed. and die to it. Good job, good job. Good job, good job. Nothing out of the ordinary. Hmm. Okay, what? Okay, the first thing I'm seeing, I see someone got stabbed, right? You see the knife. What I'm also seeing is he's missing a button. Might be something to do with that. We will see. We will see. Maybe someone has a button. Who knows? Alright, glovies. Let's look at the gloves. Nothing inside of them. I mean, they look like normal gloves. Yeah. I mean, other than the blood, nothing here. Yeah, they're just ordinary gloves. We're gonna click on it though. There's a red in it. Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Will nothing will come of grumbling now? Nope. By the way, is Mr. McGill right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Huh. If only he'd been left-handed. Pink blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Yeah. Still would have given a better alibi. What is it? At least steering away from everything. Damn it. What if we cannot look down? Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Oh, really? Phoenix Wright, huh? Oh, yeah. Hmm. Keep on looking. On Fifth Avenue. Let's look at every single one of these. I still don't understand how they would get up there, though. How would they get up? Go through here? Kind of. Hmm. Hmm. Let's look here. There is a roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, must have a wonderful view of London streets out there. So people sit all the way up here on the bitter winter nights with cold air rushing past them. And they have to pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as a punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Maybe. I certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witness you have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Oh, indeed, it's not good. Things are not looking good right now. Oh, whoops. Okay, yes, you cannot. This is a roof deck. Wait. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought, they were saying something different about it because it's, front and back. Let's see. Okay, let's go inside. Can we go inside? Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, scene of a murder. Horrible. Hmm. Hmm. What's this? Ah, that's the poster for the great exhibition. That's due. Start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to this crystal tower and the centerpiece of the whole. Oh, the crystal tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People over town must be fizzing excitement at the prospect of such grand. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see what's here. Wait, what? That's not the same. In a crystal tower. Here's a tower. Okay. Probably both are the same. Alright, let's check this. Seems it's kind of disgusting, but that's blood. It's soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and that seat would clearly be visible from the roof deck. Did you really stab somebody in full view of another passenger like that? I wonder. Well, it was after dark. There was a lamp on in here. So perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it seemed like it was planned. Was a planned attack. Yeah. I mean, huh? A handle? It has a handle, it seems. Let's decide. Looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep an omnibus running. Heating taps, tools to repair, wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment. For the coachman to keep things. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers. So the luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine we're very convenient for that purpose anyway. Yes, but can we look inside though? Like, see what kind of equipment. Well, okay, they already. What was this inside? I mean, this side doesn't have any. Hmm, it's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Wide enough to afford a good view onto the cabin from the rooftop. Doesn't appear to be a handle or catch. Any description? Plus, it can't be opened from the inside cabin at least. Yeah, you can't. Wait. Can't open from the inside? Hmm. To be honest, there's nothing else to be found here. Yep, I guess that's it, huh? Hmm. Alright, let's go outside. That's enough. Let's step back outside. Yeah, I mean, I think we got some answers, but not really, I mean, you just really, I don't know what else to think, right? Because it seems pretty obvious. There is not much to be seen here. Alright, let's get back to them. It was the last boss of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing were sat next to each other. Next to each other or opposed to each other? Okay. And out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged the knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. Screamed. I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus and then I saw it too. Alright, so we had it happen. Only two people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim of the defendant. And so help me. 3 whole people witnessed the man trying to do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but Voodoo seems to be in a rather difficult situation. Yeah, I mean, I cannot think of anything here because if you look at it all over, right? Things are looking a bit out of place. Not really out of place, but more like everything fits so well together. Like I know what else I would think of right now because if you look at it, there's no way there's any discrepancies here. I mean, what am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGill really innocent? That's a good question here, man. We have no idea. How could it be? Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to the witnesses' statements again, a little more carefully this time. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers and remember. I mean, he's probably safe, because there's no way he could stab someone and drive at the same time. The victim and the man accused of killing were sat next to each other in the bus. Next to each other inside the bus. Now this might be something. Then out of blue, the accused just reached over and plunged the knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did, okay, couldn't help it. The screaming part doesn't matter too much. Then I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Alright, so when it happened, the only two people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. Yes, good to know. And so help me. 3 whole people. I don't like to be pessimistic. Okay, good said it. Okay, I can also press these tools. Okay, I wish there was a kind of bigger report so we could have a better seating. Probably doesn't matter where they sit. Let's press him on that. Yes. I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? You have to press probably every single person, because pressing doesn't, count as, presenting. It won't take my life. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold it was, sir. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at a time, is that correct? There were no other passengers then the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. That's right, sir. No other... you're correct with that, sir. No other passengers like that? No. Nobody fled the scene of crime then. Yes, I have to say, the boss insists on running. He does every evening. The last part of the day. Bus. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see? Yes. I spent that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up. Yeah. Okay, he's safe. The victim of the activities of the killing set. Okay, here you go, mate. And you saw them through the skylight, the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. Okay, yes, understandable. I know that. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had pretty good view. The 2 of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. See, that is already a thing. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. So you're just going assumptions again. I can be so sure. Well, how can I put it politely? McGill is a gentleman of a rather small stature. I couldn't possibly have mistaken me for anyone else. Wait, if they were small, then you wouldn't have seen him, right? But since you couldn't see his face, then how can you be sure about that? Let's look at that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for a doubt here. Oh, I really wish there was. Good thing, good thing. I'm gonna trust you on that as well. You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't already testify to that? Or fair dinkum Hardworking city bankers, not considered trustworthy these days. Maybe. Oh, no, no. I didn't mean that. This is not good. I really got this back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord. Hero number 3. Yeah, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up of what? Swinging a knife, mate. Unlike stinking rich never have. They are always up to something or other that they shouldn't be, every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. Huh? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That's precisely what I was about to say. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. Wait. You cannot just start... You cannot start saying... Hey yo, the thing is not over. You cannot just cast your votes. What is happening here? Let me see. Oh, I see. Yes. It seems that all the members of the jury give their verdict. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent, black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury made up their minds about the case, only one by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice that we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean? Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Oh, no. I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Oh, this is a nightmare. Yeah, it's like we already lost 2 votes. Right, you stabbed him. He screamed. I did. Trust you on that. Tell me more. Stabbed him, you say. But who was stabbing? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were ya? That's right. I was up on the roof there. I remember seeing a little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I've been thinking about the new head design, you see, so I was gazing absent-mindedly around. Wait. But then it happened. To look down through the skylight. It was sticking right through his belly. That huge, great knife. Grim sight indeed. Huh? Didn't help me at all. Oh my god, please don't. It really looked like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. I mean, getting closer and closer to that. It appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First? Oh, yes, sir. Is this the knife? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, concrete. Yes, that's it. This very one. The very one, sir. Is that it? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly. Like a stake through the heart. And then furthermore, discovered is emblazoned predominantly with a certain initial. The letter M, which oddly familiar. Oh god. Please, no. M for Magnus perhaps, or McGilded possibly, take your pick. It seems to practically a big name and Lana made a magnificent mistake. Oh my god. What was this guy's name again? Thrice fired Mason. We could also have M for Mason. But there's an M error. Like, yes. Like in Mason. That is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Oh. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling counsel. Whoever has been entered, okay? Oh, please don't. Nope, we have to examine the knife. We have to. It's big as M. Okay. Good to know. That's an actual M. Anonymous of Magnus Miguel's initial. And it's beautiful guild too. That's a very variable, I should think. What is it? Look at this M. If we turn it upside down, it becomes a W. Could change everything. W? Yes. One of those, turnable cases, I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. But what I'm sure of is that this is an M. Oh, well, that idea was quickly squashed. I mean, now an M is always like this. Like, let's say it's turned around, okay? That's not sound like an M. That's not how you write an W. Or anything else. Let the hilt. That part is sheaf. Isn't it? Are you alright? Is that Naruhodo or Naruhodo-san? Oh, sorry. Yes. I don't really like blades. Oh, those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. Okay. That's not a blade. That's a Kazuma's soul. Anyway. There's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Okay, looks like a normal sheath. Ooh, that looks like a nice, fine knife. Say so myself. I can appreciate knives. Oh, that looks a lot like blood. I mean, yes, of course it's blood, man. I think this is ketchup. It surely is. The victims. Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Yes, it's red blood. Or have you ever seen someone bleed purple? Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Britain, and I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Hmm. Hmm. I mean, there's nothing else to be seen. Nothing here. Oh, it looks like an ordinary knife. Oh, well, not very ordinary, more like an extraordinary, ordinary knife. Yeah. There's not much to be seen. Alright. We got Maido. Oh, the number 2, go on. The guild is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and the guild gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, oh no. Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of rubbish? Oh no. Hey yo, it's 3 out of 3, man. One more and I'm out? I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Oh. Oh. Please help. I've painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I'm now in position to draw. No, please don't. Oh my god, it's out. Yep. It's 4 on 2. You cannot stop this. Not again. It's 4 to 6 jury members who proposed the guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press the witnesses for more information, I just make the whole situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I also have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. Jesus, it's only 4 out of 6! Alright. I keep trying. Can't give up. And I need to keep calm and listen to the witness statement again. Oh my god. Alright, so when it happened, didn't so help me. Yes, 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 yes. Move on, please. Hmm. When did you go up? If your screen came from up, why upstairs? Why would you, check the inside? What exactly did you just? What's a passenger, sir? Collapsed on the floor. He was. And by passengers, obviously you are referring to the victim and Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had the knife in his hand like this. By the other passenger, obviously you are referring to the accused, Mr. Mac yelled it. Then plunged down like. Okay. Staring the other passenger in the belly. Okay. What? Oh fuck. No. We'll take it that you do. As a master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though. I said it to myself. But he's already ready. But I've heard enough. No. The horses have bolted, as I say. Oh no, please, just keep an open mind a little up. G up now, Sir Silverblaze. Night finish is in sight. Please, Grandma. Please don't. 35 on 1, man. Cannot end here. That was a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust the man. The man said, "Oh, thank you, sir. You are too kind." Oh, unkind. Which now means that 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Grandma, please don't. Other jurors number 6. No, we are not finished. We are not finished. What can I do? You have heard the testimony of the witnesses? No, we're still not finished. There's still one more to go. Oh, yes, certainly. Look at my hearing, you know. Yeah. Then Praetor. Why are you yet to pronounce the leading? Come on, Grandma. Well, dear. The thing is, I'm a creature of habit. Me. I always go to the park at around this time of day. I sit on the nice bench and get on with my knitting. Yes, that's good. There's a lovely park just near where I live. Mr. Beard, it's called. The Gilded Park, it's called, yes. Yes, we know that. The gentleman donated to the city, you know, and put a smile on London's face, he said. I can imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Yeah. Ladies believing, still, he always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone. Surely. Well, he had everything, right? Mother, may we go to the McGill Public Library later and borrow some more books? Yes, Steve, yes. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know? What kind of a man Magnus McGill really is? What kind of man is he? The philanthropist, Magnus McGilded, has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. I mean, so? What's the problem here? But where'd all that wealth come from? Your client is the Shylock. Sir? Shylock? And one with the very darkest of souls. What? Dawn of the Gods? Basically lends money to extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard of any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. But has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of public omnibus service? You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, they have considerably financial liability, but also, since he's a, I guess, loan shark, in a way, then he shouldn't have any problems, to kill him, but not where it's so obvious. It will come to us no surprise that his creditor was the accused Magnus McGilded. But let it all be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Gracious. The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house, he had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing. Don't taken from him his life. By the merciless philanthropist, pretender Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it. You say it's true? If I might add something briefly, Susato claimed that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded, but where's evidence to support the claims? Yes, do you have, something show? Oh no, he's about to drink some wine or blood. Pray forgive his courtesy of filling my hallowed chalice, Lord of Lord. There it is. Lord Renzig's hallowed chalice. He's just drinking wine. How can it be considered acceptable? Better get some drinks in for his parched throat. But I find myself in unexpected good humor. I had heard ladies from Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. As a judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the courtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. Oh, jeez. A marvelous toast, Count, sir. I will gladly accept this new evidence. Oh. Getting worse and worse for us. Things are not looking good. Ah, yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, would seem I've... Don't cast your vote yet. I need to look it up myself. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Yes. Well, it's not as though I know any of London gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. Are you sure Will not find Mr. Sean's name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Kind of weird if it were, right? Not really, but you know. Yes, yeah. I can read a whole lot of writing. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? But I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen, though, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness. What is it? Look at this. Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay? But that means something to... Yes, it does. That sounds strangely familiar. Actually, Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yes, yes of course. The banker, why is his name in here? Question, right? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. Possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. Yes, the Bruce Fairplay, the banker. Anyone else? Yeah, no. Okay. Alright, I guess we have something. The wool pulled over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park too. What a scoundrel. Oh, please don't vote just yet. Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute, let's think about this a little more before I don't stand for nonsense. Oh my god, it's already 6-0. I think 6-0 over here, what? That was the last jury decision. Yeah, that makes no sense. You cannot cast your votes if everyone is finished. According to this encyclopedia, this of British law, when all members of the jury have concluded the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. Final verdict. It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote though. A footnote? How about the defense? All the members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Now, please. I want to hear what the judge has to say. God damn it. Allow me to convey my respects for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections. Yeah, it wasn't finished. Come on, let her speak. Just tell me on one thing. Oh, yes. We're in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your encyclopedia. British law, however, the defense. What did it say? Next. Oh, yes, of course. One moment, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand summation of examination of the jurors at this point. Ooh. A summation? Examination? A summation examination? From which century has the tomes you have been then resurrected? Ah. Judging from the binding, I would say the book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. What even is this? Is it son? The so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment, and I read about it. Here's a dictionary. Witter. You would demand the right to procedure before you even understand what it is, what it entails. Typical Nipponese. How can you say that without knowing them? Oh, Naruto-san? I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, You'll be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decision, and it says here. Let's hear that. If successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decision. As in time gone by, the barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But the procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit really, so it rather fell out of use. Oh, guess what? Now it's the right time to use it. Not because it never came to use, doesn't mean it will have to use sometime, someday, but now's the time to use it. I wonder why. Yes, because we got literally stopped by doing it every single time. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try the engagement. You're literally saying, "Oh, don't defend. Just take it, man. Just take it." Still, I don't see any mention of the procedures actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Naruto-san? A summation examination, our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Assert our right. The defense wishes to assert its right to summation examination, my lord. You can't object to that, you fuck. But London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. A summation examination are an embarrassment that should remain buried. But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense petition is perfectly valid. Before we proceed with the summation examination. Madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see. Better take it. All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decision, and why you believe the defendant will be guilty. Really putting us on the spot, huh? This is the most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold it's justifying Lark. It seems to have thrown the jurors off. Since none of them have experienced this before. Alright then. Determination examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for a year. For years, is it? No, apparently not. Apparently not. Well, just maybe. Might be the opportunity we're looking for. Turn this trial around. So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant Magnus McGilder guilty of this mysterious crime. Oh shit. Attention. Yeah, there's literally nothing here besides fair play guy. Right? Besides fair play person, I think no one else is in here. Right? Fair play, fair play. Alright. There's no one else inside the carriage at the time. But, so it has have been him. trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. It's like the chap next to him. Just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Player fares our motto. We haven't raised above 4 pence for years. Bound of stabbing the poor man on the floor beggars belief. Really? I'm starting to wish I had pushed what is now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these people to change their mind. I'll have to throw everything I can at them and use very persuasive language. Language. Just a moment, not the sun. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh, I thought I was going to have to thaw the icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they are unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they reach their conclusion by their own. Reasoning, you see, the police will sound like in fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? But yeah, I'm just citing what I've read. The British law, not of the sun. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they're complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. Must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. Again, we then contrast the statement and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we are looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradiction in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright. I'll be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. He will pull it off. I have to pull this off. Then we start the proceedings. Counsel. Alright, let's get it. Let's get them all. I would ask you to take the stance for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Oh shit. The defense rebuttal. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time. It has to be. Wait. So it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory. It seems 4 passengers. There's totaling 20 pence. 20 pence. Wait. Check the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. Okay, that's nothing. I simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the conclusion. Conclusion together, okay. I trust a good, fair fares. Our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4. Okay, here it is. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do. Explain yourself. Me? Oh dear. What have I said? Yes, 4 and 5. Those are not both the same. Blaze's main and name. I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. I mean, of course you do. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus the night. Question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Yes. What are you gonna tell me, huh? Quite right. I have the price size needed typed neatly here in front of me. Okay, good. And your number 5 also told us the following. Oh, give me them leads, baby. The fare. Always 4 pence. That it is. A fair and convenient single price, just the way London carriage should be operated. Okay. But it doesn't add up at all. Yes, 4 times 4 is 16. There's no need to think hard about it. And in fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in facts. Why? Why, man, why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it's 60. It would be 16, yes. Yes, mate. You should know how to do math, right? Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. 4 pence, in fact, or precisely 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare? Yes. In other words, the omnibus that night. This is distinctly possible. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Oh yeah, yes. I mean, yes. Because you already, seen that there's literally everything there, right? Because of what was said. When, oh yeah, I didn't see his face, but I definitely know he stabbed him. Okay, come on, you didn't see his face, but how can you say strongly that he was it? The coachman of the guild are good, honest men, one and all, trustworthiness, our watchword. The figures you coach the claims most certainly don't add up. Your watchword, good sir, is fallacy. I beg your pardon? As a guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your boyfriend tried to hide the fact that he lets first character ride his omnibus. Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, huh? Oh, how would you think you vote, my guy? Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the set of scales. But that's preposterous. Why would you do something like this? Let's do it, man. Let's do it. hold your horses there, coachman. We're on an agreement. Why? No, wait. Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo. Okay, so things are going well. Things are going well. Oh, this is all very irritating. Is it now? Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. Oh. Oh. Thank you for rethinking about it. Would love a mic, not you as well. Oh, why are you so, why are you so aggressive, my guy? What's up, man? What's up? Trying to be happy. A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. Yes, yes. I certainly can't put my trust into someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. Oh, really? I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Naruto. You did it! Thank you, thank you. Without your help, it wouldn't be, wouldn't be nothing here. We will be on our way back to Japan. We can manage to change 2 more Jura minds. Yes, yes, and we will. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more. 2 more. Da, 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 da. Actually, there's someone else that bothered me about a couple of the assertion. Then that's where you must strike next. We need to pit 2 more yours against the other and show there's no contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for having hope in me. Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they're still way heavy on the side of guilty. Counter, you have to floor again. Continue with the summation examination. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm gonna do destroying here. Changing, fleeing to the innocent. Hey, sure. Okay. Not serving the poor man on the floor. Okay. So we just need to find 2 euros, yes. Which is much easier said than done. Or perhaps what you were just thinking. How did you know? Well, I took the liberty of doing some research in case you happen to find yourself in such a situation. Did I read you what I found? Alright, tell me. Please go ahead. Very well, listen to this. When it gets to settle, with some later examination, you will hear the assertion of the 6 members of the jury as the counsel for the defense produce. Okay, I know that. I was expecting something else. Note that you cannot choose the assertion of the juror you initially selected. Yeah. Now you can choose the assertion of jurors who have changed their leaning to not guilty already. Or which are 2 contradictions. Then put them together? Yes, okay. I know. I was expecting something else. The first step is to listen. Be very careful to which. Yes, I know that. Thank you, Suzato-san, but please, let me continue. Alright then, let's get this right now. Yes. What an determination. There was no one else beside Carrie at the time. Okay, I can probably do this. Then a woman on the floor, it beggars belief. Second that transfer. Let's put it to each other. Those two statements are completely contradictory. What? Explain counsel. Post haste. Oh dear me. I was only knitting the jumper for my other half. What is it? Or what is all this claptrap? Claptrap, huh? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? Well, we heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, you're number 3. What? Can't you see that I'm busy here? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of emotion was it? Huh. Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Sacked the fellow next to him without even getting up. Just like the prim banker said. I straight up shanked him. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true. Now then, you're number 6. Oh, is that me? Is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it was like this. Stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now, don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. Stabbed the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The toupee has fallen. It's failing to keep your head with the luscious locks. Oh, yes. Alright. Things are looking good. Well, I never. They're stabbed in totally different direction. Yes, the next is gonna stab him from the top, you know? Open them gates and stab him in the head, too. I mean, that's gonna work, but okay. What? Bless my stitches. What a muddle. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Ah, yes. But why? Why the dickens would I lie? I don't know yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen, off the jury. Can you really let that happen, all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh dear me. I can't about people telling lies. Oh, we are 3 by 3. The scales. I don't believe it. You better believe it. Wait. Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. We have also debts to him. Look at him. His back's black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on all of us. On us all. Are you trying to bring here witches? Are you sure about this magic? Huh? Or is it you that you fail to convince everyone here? If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Probably not. If it was magic, he would probably be running out of this room. Aren't we this dark jinx? Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slight different recollection of events? Well, it's still a contradiction, man. It's not true. What of it? Let's say the Shylocks did stab the victim as he was sitting next to him in the omnibus. And this young dandy saw him do it. And now, let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again. Then he would literally have 2 injuries. Well, let's say it didn't happen like that, huh? Who are you calling your dandy, sir? And why should I take this knife to you? Who are you calling old? Why? I should take this needle to you. Goddamn. They're all stabby, huh? Oh, they're ready to kill each other now. I mean, an old lady and someone who has a knife, who's wielding a knife in the courtroom. Yeah, stabbing is a big thing here. Hopefully, they're probably on the playing field at London with stabbings, right? But let's shank him out. Shank a guy, yo. Gotta shank someone at least. We don't have guns, we have knives. Time to stab a person. How could the foreman of the injury be alright? Right? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments? No, it's not a question. He has only 1 wound. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. What is it, you? Drink, come on, out with it. What you suggesting is impossible. It's out of question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? I mean, I can say that because you can literally see it on the body. And you know how to see a report. It literally says he got stabbed once. If he had more stabbings, I guess wounds, then yes, I would see it. You realize that I'm only doing my job. No, you're doing your job to try to persuade everyone here. You're doing it wrong. As foreman of the jury, I have responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. But you're not doing the right job here. So, there's your evidence, man. That's what we want to see. I say the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. Say that's all the question, show me proof. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something and dismiss. Yes, hard evidence, as you wish. I give you the proof. Yes, I already know where it is. Here you go. Take it. There's the victim's autopsy report. According to what's writing here, more written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely 1 time, which means the witness can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. I mean, you're quick, man. Huh. Wait, that means yes. Order the not guilty. You've done it, not out of the sun. 1. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one advises me. Deceives me. But we had a conscious consensus. Wait, what? I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. If a chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I take his razor sharp blade, shave every last hair off his head. My man loves this knife, huh? Hey yo. NSFW, man. Please, please. Please tell me he's a barber. But, in a quite remarkable turn of events, The defense formation examination has flipped the balance of the scales to justice. Jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to educate, and the trial must continue. Oh, goodness. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and the witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth, and only the truth. So, Lord Van Zix, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Oh. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hollowed chalice. But the wine, man, you could have drank that before you destroyed the glass in your hands. It may seem crass to crush to dust. Pray forgive the courtesy. I mean, how strong are you? What the fuck? Lord Van Zix. Oh, the golden hair. Or is it just me? Temperature has sunk. Maybe a vampire needs its cold area to live. As an antiquated, Tom Noddle says the prosecution may not speak during the summation examination. So I honored the deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. But no matter. There's nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. Now, why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, now let us proceed to the next round of battle. Oh. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Then he lost his cape. A man's means business. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have had to endure. Yes, sir. Yes. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Of course, of course. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end, the coachman, I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir. Lord, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus. You will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in no mind, sir. Oh mio Dio. Oh. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. We will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense summation examination. Various misgivings. I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear on it. Swear it, but, well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He filled us on a fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGill stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes. Stabbed. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. How would you say that if you have witnessed it? Counsel, makes sense. It's for me, please. The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. Confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little consonage. Whatever that means. Beppo, explaining yourself. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that. Am I to understand that you have been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm sorry. A disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace! And your selfish action have brought dishonor on the entire guild. Hey, may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each? Yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures... No, that's right. You don't need to do it 10 times if it's right the first time. Because the number's also pretty small. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. You already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. Alright. I got it for the night, I swear it. But, the only but, So, there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them for standard 4 pence fare. Is that right? I should have let them talk and then decide. It's impossible to make the last run of the day pay. I was cold, so cold. It was all I could do to stop myself from passing out. I'm getting chilblains just listening to you. It was terrible, so I want to give myself a pat on the back for keeping the bus running. Doesn't the dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been 5 passengers on the omnibus that for the night, then we would have had another suspect. Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus, okay. Told us on the fare he did, and then I saw that blood curdling sight as well, it's all too much, okay. Tell you I saw McGill stabbing that man, everything I said before stand. Yes, he stabbed him, yes he did, I think so, yes. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-organization. I have to use it. Yes. Be not careful when you press these witnesses. The danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful. Did it before. Maybe, but we can't let the fear of it happening stop us from uncovering important new evidence. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of reaction among the witnesses. Yes. Remember, if you happen to spot a witness reacting to a strange way, yes, I know. I'm gonna press all these. Does that mean everyone on the board that I paid 5 pence instead of 4? Oh, well, I paid 5 too, so. I told you I did that. Flat fare of 5 pence across the board. Or something, yes. Look what this person in my learned friend and identified it was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried. I've been happy if it had existed in the first place. Okay, he felt that's unfair, did he? I saw the black current side as well. All too much. Gotta press him on that as well. This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir. Hello, Sunsight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is taken. Oh well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment. Then it was stabbed. Oh, good gracious, really? We have another witness who did, however, the banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me make a sharp intake of breath. See, that's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw the horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help doing when I'm eating. But in front of you is a knife. I tell you, staring the man, and hey, did you see it happen? I saw the defendant, Mr. McGill, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? What was bothering me before? This was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as said, yet zero evidence. Then, are we wasting all this time for it? It's black and white, the man's guilty. Tell me about Mr. Fairplay, that's my God. I wish I could work out what it was. Oh yes, it's happened. Yes, he did. Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horse when I heard the scream from the seats of the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then, when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking out of his midriff. That's right, yes. The fellow holding the handle was a famous man, yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stab. Excuse me, sir. You got something to say? You have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know that what you're thinking. Okay, what do you think what I'm thinking? You didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I'll take some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Would you have just happened to see the exact moment? Some days are like that, I just also regularly see, oh, something about to happen, just look outside, I can foresee the future. No chance. Well, it is a little hard to believe. Certainly. Unless you spent your time peeping through the skylight on the top of the omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a well-read day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar, my lord. I'll ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, sir. Alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. You think I forgot the sight of the blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed the man? Yeah, I can probably go over that again. But let's see what it is. Blood-soaked? Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but there was definitely blood all over there. All of them were covered in it. And you saw that from the roof? Through the skylight? Well, the skylight's reasonably large. That's a pretty good view. There was a lamp on the inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw. Those bankers, latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. If you feel something doesn't add up, not all of a sudden, that's when you should have good look through the court record. Okay. Okay. Let's press him on this one again. Of course. That goes without saying. The autopsy report makes it quite clear that the victim was stabbed only once, yes. Which means the banker was witness to the fatal wound that ended the Mason's life. Alright. You can forget the sight of those blood-soaked. Oh wait. If it's blood soaked, then would he know that this thing is soaked with blood? Yeah, it gotta be. Okay. There's clearly something odd about this blood saving by the witness. There's something odd here indeed. Oh, please. Oh. Okay, I guess I fucked that out. Alright, alright. Oh my god. No. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Try to think. Oh wait. Yeah, blood-soaked hands. Okay. That gotta be these, right? Let's see if it's right. Yep. Blood-soaked hands. Well, I admit that soaked might be laying a little on thick, but anyway, there was already blood all over them. I was trying to think a bit more big brain here. Of course, still, all that I was thinking it through. But then I was thinking, you know, about the blood-soaked part. It might be something with the seats, but didn't think of the gloves. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGillet, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. There certainly does appear to be signs of a dark-colored stain there. But as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only the right-hand glove. Hey, no need to eat that, okay? In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. But no, that can't be right. You're the liar here, then. That's right, you were quite clear about it. Say, it was with both hands. Damn, those things are quite sturdy. Fair play. If your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. That you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth? It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. It wasn't both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused. No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Why? Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be gold standard. Well, if it was gold standard, then you shouldn't be lying, right? I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe upstanding members of society. Don't pervocate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie, but is that really the case? Not all the sun. If you had some evidence to explain why Fairplay might be lying, would turn the tide in this trial completely. There's no evidence, sir. I rest my case. Take him away. Ah, I have evidence. My lord, yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates the motive for the witness alleged acceptance of court. It's right here. This is a list of debtors debtors who have owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims, purported by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name. It's Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? Oh, well, it's barely worthy of being called the debt. It is a debt, okay? It doesn't matter. Going to the ledger, you owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderably sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's, sup- let's suppose Mr. Gilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant, here, to sentence to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would annulled. They would cease to exist. Oh shit. I mean it's obvious, right? Where would the guy would have his money? Alright. They would cease to exist, yes, they would. Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? Oh. In an devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant. Yeah, man. Still have your debts, man. Order. Okay. Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. My lord? Lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answers may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Come on, please tell. Signs speak volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did. Or say the truth, a pinch. A pinch? But I did. But it makes no difference. It does make a difference. Do you remember seeing blood on McGill's hands, both of them? That's only one hand. There's blood on it. And yet only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here, as evidence. It's stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Go ahead, Mr. First. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir. On the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I am almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one. What? What? What do you mean, both? I only see... What? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all your witnesses. Oh god. And this time, I would like to know precisely what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yours. Now that I understand, this is good news. The course of trial seems to have shifted slightly at least. At last. Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Yes, you do. Also, hope you guys enjoying the stream so far. After a late start today, we are back with, I guess, with this game, but yeah, hope you guys enjoying the stream. Also, if you still interested in anime stuff, yesterday I did a anime season review of spring season 2022, so if you want to check it out, I would upload it onto the YouTube channel, so, you can check it out. Also, I have plenty of other parts of gameplay on there. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go over to my YouTube channel. And also, if you're enjoying the stream, the follow is always appreciated. Thank you, thank you. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attackers' hands with both blood on them. Both the attackers? Then now there are two attackers now. Wait, what? I didn't actually see anything myself, no. Not until I heard the scream. Okay, I take that. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen. Oh my lord. Well, lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside the carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's really not what testimony is about. Let's examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating witnesses' accounts. In other words, there's no significant change in fact of the case. Very well. Cross-examination, police counsel. Yes, my lord. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely, distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact amount of stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard the scream. Just whether it have anyone inside the carriage, or we'll have... Okay, I probably have one. Okay, this person beautifully saw that too. Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Miguel's gloves has any signs of blood on it. That's right. Thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGill sitting beside the other fellow. I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. Wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark leather hand gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night of question wrote there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilder's gloved hand. There wasn't blood on his hands? It's puzzling indeed. It must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. Let's press every single one of these again. Oh, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw. Let's stand by it. The man had blood on both hands. Both his hands. But defined, even in the face of the hard evidence. Steadfastly refusing to admit what he might be mistaken about what he saw, but why? The reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime scene, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment. Okay. Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance as well, you know. But we're crying out loud. All know that no one else could. Well, we have done it. I was just trying to save us all some time. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? And you hoped to release yourself from the financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty. Aye, well, that's entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse on the derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture. You're right, that's a sure thing. Ah yes. RNG will guide you, I guess. A little guinea or 10. I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. If you're a banker, you would know how money works. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than your bargain, sir. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? Yes, definitely. Oh, you didn't see anything? Yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir, I didn't. Sorry about that. What I said before, sir, very sorry. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw stab a man. Would you agree, sir? I know what you saw, sir, insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. However, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed the good view of London streets, no? Probably seen it multiple times. Oh, please. You didn't even see that. It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid traveling on the last omnibus service of London's cold weather nights. Bad pull. Ah. So I'll be pressing every single one, but right now I have no idea. No one's acting differently right now, and everything you saw the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Ah, yes, I remember. I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. No one opened the door. It was locked. That's right. It's a public bus service, for pity's sake. Never what I call fair play. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. 1 second. Alright. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside gestured at me to clear off. But who was the gent? I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. I can assure you, I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. That's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in the cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal? What? Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure what these two witnesses. I already have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight. They might have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus. Where were you sitting? I witnessed the cabin through the skylight in the roof of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right. Yes. In that case, there's a portion of the cabin's interior that would have been out of sight from you. Golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, you can say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Because, someone says, yeah, someone said definitely that. Where is it again? The gent inside just gestured to me at me to clear off. Who was the gent? Who was it? Was it Mr. McGilded or was it the brick master? Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The persecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that the potential passenger could have been situated? If I look down here, that would be right here. Right, that would be the case, that would be here. Both rows of the seats on the roof face in the direction of travel. Where the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight. As I've drawn here. Oh, yes. That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite, the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting, is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Oh my god, no way. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Okay, mate, this is not some kind of ghost story here. No phantoms would be sitting, just there. Uniponis have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I concur with the prosecution to rejoinder. In the British Court of Law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is unless you are able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can you, Miss Naruto-san? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witness of the roof deck? I understand, my lord. One would like to put forward a name. Okay, where did you get a glass from? A man just, pulled up another one of these. Huh? You are a fool. What response? A desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitation. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger on the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, On the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... history? Can I check? Oh no. I'm trying to think right now. Okay, I literally just, oh yeah, there might be someone. I have no fucking idea right now. If I could open up the other stuff. Oh, she's just a maelstrom. Yes, it's definitely a male strongheart. But he's 21. It looks like this. All right. Person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... You know what? I'm just gonna do it. Fuck it. Person in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see. As I remember, some Magnus. Oh, now again. It flashed my mind, man. We couldn't see the heads of the people. So yes, they would have believed it was him, but it wasn't him. Oh, sorry. Oh my god. What are you talking about? That's the name of the defendant. Hey yo, what the fuck? You already destroyed 2 of these. If you desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Dolphin-Zeeks. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. Oh really? The blood scene unfolded. The victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Also would have witness to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. But that premise may be wrong. But if the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the witness, of the person sitting next to the victim. Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains. The objections, goddamn. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their distance. Yes, the testimony remains unchanged. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of the events is correct, and the testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. The victim was on the passenger's hands, both of them. Oh goddamn. Please. Who was this third party? Obviously, a true culprit. Extraordinary. Things getting heated up in this in this room. The defense postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. Oh really? Oh really? The witnesses have clearly stated they saw the accused. Oh my god, so many objections left and right. When elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. I thought that the hats were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters too tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of that hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused Mr. McGilded would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Oh my lord. Oh god, things are getting heated. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilder would have been unaware of it. Order! Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused Mr. McGilder to the stand. Well, what you say, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilder is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, I can be sure it will have been the most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Mr. McGill to testify or not? You see, normally you would be the person asking for it, but at the same time we have no idea. I'm going with demand his testimony, because we have to know what he actually saw. I know he said he was sleeping because every time, but it could also be wrong, so see. Yes, you need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGill to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Oh yes, I need a little more time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGill has to say. Get the man out here, I say. I would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs to doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Oh, really? You do? Okay, great, fantastic. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little party has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Great. Very well, the court will hear defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Oh, alright. Let's hope it doesn't end up in tragedy. Because it would be terrible of him if it would be wrong, right? Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Hope for the best. As proceedings be resumed. I get it. Have you been listening to the discourse of the day? Sure, I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which we decide to hear from you. First, if whether or not was a third person party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. you know. Okay, the second is that if such person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact that from the police? Conceal that fact from the police. And you see, with that, it is a good time stop for today, you know. It is also the time when the stream is concluded for today. Hope you guys, enjoyed the stream. Say sorry about, being late a little bit today. Couldn't get things done, also being a bit late was on my end. But I would say we made considerably a lot of progress. I would also say that I have a feeling, the next time we return to it, we might 100% be concluding this trial, hopefully. Because this time around, things are getting pretty heated. And we also found out that Mr. McGilded is, maybe, only maybe, is not the culprit in this case. Who knows, right? If the statement is gonna be true or it's gonna be false, you'll be seeing it next time, I don't know when we're gonna be playing it again. Usually I play this, play every single, part of Ace Attorney. It's like, yeah, after I finish the game, we return to it, or just, when I feel like it, throwing something in there. We always go back to Ace Attorney, and, I always love coming back to it. It's a pretty chill game. Also, it takes a lot of toll on reading and talking and reading out loud. But yeah, at least, I could say, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Also, the fact, always enjoying it too. Hope you guys also enjoying me reading it. Well, you guys also at the same time, I'm trying to do different voices here and there. Of course, it's more like me just playing around, because that's how I usually do with things. When I read out things, I just, play with my voices and try, oh yeah, makes it a bit more interesting here and there. Maybe it sounds a bit different and more fun, at least for me, and hope you guys also have fun by listening to it. As always, if you guys enjoyed the stream, the follows always appreciated. Same goes to Twitter as well. I will always keep you guys updated on Twitter if I'm going live or not. Also, I have a YouTube channel. I've been talking about it quite a lot, right? I always upload all the things onto the YouTube channel, like all the Ace Attorney. If you have missed the before journey we started with Ace Attorney, and there are multiple parts on YouTube, so if you have missed the other ones, you can always check it out. And also, I have also other games that I've played on this channel, on the Twitch channel, and uploaded to YouTube, like Ori, Persona, I think Solar Ash, and Ori, and multiple other games, right? And more to come as well. I also do seasonal anime reviews. So as I did yesterday, I also did a anime season review. So if you're interested in anime as well, right? You do play anime games. Shocker, I know. But generally, like watching, anime and doing all the seasonal stuff. I'm gonna be doing all the reviews probably every 3 months when the new season, and I guess the season ends and the season starts, right? So gonna be doing that. But as always, thanks for watching. I was saying to you guys coming here, hanging out, and just enjoying the stream. And yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow for another stream, another day, and hopefully maybe a new game. We'll see. But yeah, always thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.